My charismatic father has stood against my conversion at every turn, dismissing Lutheranism, dismissing any form of biblical Catholicity as little more than dead, pharisaical traditions of men. He has been openly attempting to undermine my confession and bring me back to the charismatic theology in increasingly subtle and manipulative ways. He dismisses baptism as ineffectual, no surprise there, and constantly denigrates the supper to me. I get really discouraged after our conversations, and I at times even begin to doubt what I know to be sure. It's called gaslighting. He's gaslighting you. It's horrible. Lately, he has, and it's not loving, and it is not worthy of the word father. Lately, he has begun to notice that the amount of shared theology between us is getting smaller and has changed his approach as a result. He's begun denying doctrinal positions that he has held for as long as I can remember in an effort to preserve some measure of perceived unity between us. These are not sincere changes of his beliefs, but rather attempts to get me back on his side. However, when I think back to the countless false prophecies coming up here, heretical doctrines and demonic activity at work in people who fall over and bark like dogs, it's Pentecostal stuff, I know that I am biblically unable to say that my dad and I have any unity at all. I can no longer trust that he is being honest with me in our discussions about faith. That's all you need to know right there, that line. Since he shifts on major stances almost every time we talk. Right. That makes him, whatever else he is, he's a liar now. How long can you have a healthy conversation with a liar? Only if you want to just, again, get gaslit into being confused. At some point, you just decide, I'm talking to a liar. It doesn't matter what they say. I'm not going to talk to them. They can talk to me. I'm not going to give it any credence. Doesn't matter what they say. They've lost the right to be believed. Okay? And this is where you are. It's sad. Now, again, I'm assuming you're telling the truth and he, who he is, I don't know. But from what you're saying, if I'm you right now, like, I'll get to it in a moment, but effectively I'm like, Dad, if you want to talk about this, I'm leaving. If you want to talk about sports, go for it. But the moment you bring this stuff up, I'm just done. I got no time for it. I'm not going to do it. And then I'd hold that line. And if it meant I never saw my dad again, I guess that's what it meant. I wouldn't want that. But that would just be, the only reason it would mean that is because he would be unable to love me after I said, I won't let you attack my faith anymore. And if that's what he decides, that ain't on me. That ain't on me. That's on him. And Judgment Day will be what it is. Simeon goes on, I do not wish to pronounce a blasphemous judgment against him. It's not your job. Flatly declare that he is not a Christian. Jesus will be the judge of that, although it certainly sounds like he's a liar, right? So, but I essentially consider my dad and I to be of two different religions. Well, yeah. I know I need to set boundaries with him. Yes, that's exactly right. In the book Boundaries, I do recommend for you for that reason, with all the caveats we've given it in the past couple of weeks. But I get angry, he says, every time I think about doing so, setting boundaries, and also have bad flashbacks. I feel lied to, yes, because you have been. Betrayed, yes, because you have been. And resentful because of the insanity of the movement I was raised in, that is the Pentecostal movement he's escaped from, which has this kind of manipulative behaviors all the way through it. This isn't unique. People who escape from these cults often experience these kinds of withdrawal and or struggle and or shunning systems that take place. So you're not really alone in this. And for that, I just want you to say, yeah, you should feel this way, because that's the natural thing to find when you have been betrayed and lied to, is that you feel like you've been betrayed and lied to. This movement never preached the gospel to me or offered any help to me in my sins. I'm unaware of how to deal with my dad clearly and firmly, yet while still honoring him according to the fourth commandment. Okay, we're going to come back to fourth commandment, but the fact is it doesn't mean obey. Honor means recognize who he is. And then as a man, okay, once you are no longer under his roof, it means don't slander him publicly. And don't insult him to his face on purpose, okay? It doesn't mean do everything he says. It doesn't mean believe what he says. And it doesn't even mean don't tell him he's wrong, because if he's going to slander you and attack you, you're allowed to say, I'm done. You're allowed to say that. I love him very much. God bless you. And I want to be part of his life. God bless you. Especially since he is aging and in poor health, but at this point he attempts to undercut my faith in the clear teachings of Scripture have become unbearable. Yeah. Your wisdom would be greatly appreciated. P.S. Since I know this is the first thing you'll tell me to do, I will say up front that I do abide in the Psalms and Proverbs regularly. I am a son of Solomon. Excellent. sonsofsolomon.net. I also am discussing this issue with my awesome pastor. Thank you always for pointing me to the right things first. So, I mean, the big piece here is that line I drew earlier, which is I'm not having this conversation anymore. And I don't know that's the way you would say it. You might be coming up with Meredith might come up with a better way to say it. But Dad, I would like to change the topic. And if we can't change the topic, I'm going to have to leave. And then you got to hold that line. Like you're fighting on the front lines of a war, really. And it's hard. It's like he'll say, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying he will, but someone will, right? They'll push on that boundary. It's like, all right, then I'm leaving. And you leave. It doesn't matter what this. No, come back. No, next time I'll come back. I'll be here, in a couple days, but not today. And you move on. And either they, like a reasonable person, recognize, wow, I really went too far. I shouldn't treat him like that. Or they don't, and they just try to manipulate you more, at which point you just keep that boundary in there. And you might end up alone. You might end up not being able to be with him when he dies. That wasn't you. Okay? Jesus is very clear. I have not come to bring peace but a sword. I'm come to divide father and son, right? Mother and daughter, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. It doesn't matter which one of those you quote. The whole idea is that people who are the members of your own household will be your enemy, okay? And in that then, while you want to honor them, which means, again, don't slander them and don't either to others or to themselves. It doesn't mean lie. It doesn't mean pretend that their wicked behavior is good behavior. It doesn't mean endure wicked abuse. Certainly, there's a place for turning the other cheek in the community, but that place does not turn the other eye when a woman's being beat to death in front of you. Okay? And so, see the place you are on that spectrum. Recognize the abuse you're undergoing. Recognize how much your own faith is saying to you, this isn't good, I can't take it anymore. And set an actual loving boundary. Dad, I'd love to talk about something else. If we can't, I'm going to have to go home today. And if he can't handle it, it's like, I don't want to call your dad a dog, but it's like training a dog. If you're training a dog and you say, sit, and he doesn't sit, and you go, okay, fine, you can have the treat. He's never going to learn to sit. So you have to hold the line long enough for him to learn. He may never learn. Somewhere in this, he thinks he's trying to save your soul. Somewhere else in this, the demons have got his heart. I'm not saying he's not a Christian, but I'm saying, man, he's being led astray. Hoo-wee. Right? Because he's lying and manipulating you, you can know that. Because Christians don't change what they think every other corner. Right? Not strong ones, not the ones you need to listen to. So honor your father and mother means preserve their name as best you can. Recognizing that, Noah was drunk and naked in his tent. But if he was drunk and naked out in the field, there's nothing they could do about it. Okay? And what did they do? They walked in backwards and covered his nakedness. That's great. He was asleep. They could do it. Yeah. But it's not as though they could control his every move. You're not the parent. Right? And again, once you're an adult, man, you're on your own. Woman, you're married to a man who's now on his own. You have your own household. You're the father and mother. Yeah? You're the one who's there with the office. And yes, is there like the history of them being your parent? Yes. If you lived in a community where we were all kind of bound together in the same region and he remained the patriarch, but it's not where you live. That's not the social gathering or contract that we have. You're your own household. And so you don't have to go and submit to a household that abuses you. Not at all. Not at all. And you want to form a household that doesn't abuse yours.